like to thank Alex for bringing a new demographic to the sport. I really appreciate it.
How special is this moment for you?
Super special.
Heartbreak in Dubai. Coco Gauff's ruthless 67-minute massacre of Eala exposed, and the WTA Tour should be terrified. I am sitting here in my studio in absolute stunned silence. Not the kind of silence that comes from boredom or distraction. The kind of silence that crawls over you when reality slaps you so hard across the face that your brain simply refuses to process what your eyes just witnessed. I have the official raw post-match statistical data sheet from the Coco Gauff and Eala quarterfinal at the 2026 Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships spread out right in front of me. And I am telling you right now, every single number on this sheet reads like a crime scene report. My brain is actively struggling to process the level of athletic violence that was just inflicted on center court in Dubai. So pull up a chair. Put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Turn off the notifications. Because what I am about to break down for you is not just a tennis match recap. This is a full autopsy of one of the most one-sided, jaw-dropping, conversation-stopping performances we have seen on the WTA Tour in recent memory. We spent the last 48 hours building this up. We talked endlessly about how this was going to be an epic, grueling baseline bloodbath between two of the most technically gifted young players in the world. We analyzed Eala's phenomenal run through the draw, the tactical masterclass she delivered against Jasmine Paolini, the gritty resilience she showed against Sorana Cîrstea, the way she was dismantling opponents with a precision that had the entire tennis world buzzing. We talked about how the 20-year-old Filipina sensation was the perfect tactical kryptonite for Coco Gauff, how her ability to neutralize pace and redirect angles could expose the gaps in the Americans' game. The entire tennis internet was locked in. The Filipino community in the UAE turned the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Stadium into practically a home court for Eala, a roaring, passionate, flag-waving sea of national pride. This was supposed to be the match of the tournament. And instead, Coco Gauff walked out of that tunnel, looked the hottest rising star in the sport dead in the eye, and in 67 terrifying minutes, delivered one of the most clinical, merciless, emotionally devastating beatdowns in recent WTA quarterfinal history. 6-0, 6-2. Gone. Over. Done. Before I rip apart this stat sheet number by number, I have to speak directly to both fan bases who made this matchup the most emotionally charged quarterfinal of the year, because both groups deserve to hear from me. To the Coco Gauff fans, take your victory lap. You have every single right to scream from the rooftops today. You have been defending your Grand Slam champion through the serve toss criticism, through the forehand inconsistency debates, through the whispers that she looked vulnerable after she had to save 3 heart-stopping match points against Elise Mertens in the round before this one. People were genuinely questioning whether Coco still had that edge, that killer instinct, that ability to summon her very best tennis when the moment called for it. Today, she did not just silence those critics. She vaporized them. She turned them to ash and scattered them across the Dubai skyline. And to the Eala army, I see you. I know exactly how much that scoreline stings. I know you are sitting there looking at 6-0, 6-2, and feeling a very particular brand of heartbreak that is hard to describe to someone who hasn't invested their passion in a young player trying to carry the hopes of an entire nation on her racket. You poured your hearts and your voices into that stadium, and to see your hero get run off the court in 67 minutes is a massive, bitter, deeply painful pill to swallow. But here is what I need you to understand, and I genuinely mean this. This is not the end of the road for Eala. This is the most valuable lesson she will ever receive in her professional career. She just got a direct, unfiltered, brutally honest answer to the most important question in tennis. What does the absolute ceiling of this sport look like? Now she knows, and knowing is the beginning of everything. Let us get into the mathematics of this destruction, because the numbers tell a story so vivid and so brutal that no dramatic narration can even compete with them. We have to start with Eala's serve, because her entire tactical identity, the baseline grinding, the high percentage play, the intelligence over aggression approach that carried her through the draw, completely depends on getting the ball in play and initiating the kind of multi-ball exchanges she thrives on. And here is where this match was broken beyond repair before it ever really started. Alexandra Eala's first serve win percentage in this match was 32%. 32%. I need you to really sit with that number. Not skim over it. Not move past it. Really absorb what that means at a WTA 1000 quarterfinal level. 32% means that for nearly 7 out of every 10 points that Eala landed her first serve, she lost the rally. It means her primary weapon, the delivery she has worked on, refined, and trusted to start points on her terms, was being treated by Coco Gauff as nothing more than a slightly inconvenient practice ball. And the reason is surgical and devastating. Coco was stepping so far inside the baseline on the return that she was essentially suffocating Eala before the young star could even complete her service motion. She was reading the toss, timing the contact point perfectly, and taking enormous, flat, aggressive cuts that redirected pace right back at Eala's feet before she had even settled into her defensive position. Eala landed 0 aces in this match. Not one. No free points. No moments of relief. No occasions where she could back Coco off the return line just a little and buy herself a fraction of breathing room. And here is where the pressure becomes mathematically suffocating. When your first serve is getting absolutely destroyed by a player of Coco Gauff's caliber, every single second serve carries the full psychological weight of the match on it. Eala knew that if she floated her second delivery even half an inch too high, Coco was going to step in, wind up, and rip a clean winner down the line. The margin for error evaporated entirely. The baseline dominance that Eala deployed so effectively against Sursti and Paolini completely collapsed because Coco Gauff simply refused to let her establish any rhythm whatsoever. Every time Eala tried to start a grinding baseline sequence, the kind of patient, high IQ rallying that she built her reputation on, Coco was already 2 or 3 steps ahead, anticipating, moving, hitting the ball earlier, hitting it harder, redirecting it to angles that forced Eala into increasingly desperate recovery sprints. The result was 15 unforced errors in the first set alone, which for a player who prides herself on ball control and decision-making under pressure is nothing short of catastrophic. Eala won only 19 receiving points across the entire match. The grinding baseline war she came to fight never materialized, because Coco Gauff turned it into an aerial bombardment before the trench warfare could even begin.
I think she was a tough opponent and tough conditions out there, very hot, but I'm just very happy with the win and excited to.
But here is where this match transitions from extraordinary to genuinely terrifying for the rest of the WTA Tour. Here is the detail that has been living rent-free in my head ever since the match ended. The number that I keep coming back to and shaking my head at. Coco Gauff won this quarterfinal 6-0, 6-2, a result so dominant that commentators struggled to find adequate words for it in real time, while hitting 8 double faults. 8 double faults in a match that lasted only 14 total games. In any normal competitive universe, against any normal WTA caliber opponent in a prestigious quarterfinal, gifting away 8 free points and struggling to find consistent rhythm on your primary serve means you are going to get dragged into an uncomfortable, messy, complicated 3-set dogfight. We literally watched this scenario play out against Mertens in the previous round, where 16 double faults nearly cost Gauff the match entirely and forced her to save 3 match points before surviving. But Coco Gauff is not a normal competitive athlete. She operates according to a completely different physics. She hit 8 double faults today and still delivered a 67-minute bagel and breadstick against one of the most praised young talents in the global game. The way she does this is both simple and incomprehensible. When the ball lands inside the court, she wins. Consistently, brutally, with terrifying authority. She was hitting the ball so heavily, moving with such explosive first-step speed and directional instinct, that Eala was completely paralyzed regardless of which serve she received. Coco won 26 receiving points in this match to Eala's 11 in just the first set. The mechanical imperfections in her serve were completely invisible because her in-rally dominance was so absolute that it simply did not matter whether the points started cleanly or not. Let us talk about the momentum statistics buried at the bottom of the data sheet, because this is the number that literally made me stop writing and just stare at the wall for a full 30 seconds. The maximum consecutive games won by Coco Gauff in this match was 10. 10 consecutive games. I need you to vividly and specifically imagine what it feels like to be Alexandra Eala standing on that court experiencing that sequence in real time. You walk out for the biggest match of your life. The crowd is electric. It is practically a home game with a massive Filipino contingent that showed up in full force to cheer you on in the UAE. The noise when you walk on court is unbelievable. The flags are out. The signs are up. The energy is everything you have ever dreamed about as a professional tennis player. You go through your pre-match routine. You warm up. You walk to the baseline to serve the first game of the match. And then it starts. You lose the first set 6-0. You sit in the chair during the changeover. You breathe. You try to reset. You tell yourself that first sets go badly sometimes, and that a new set is a new opportunity. You walk back out to serve the first game of the second set, and you go down 4-0. 10 consecutive games without a single win. That is not losing a tennis match. That is being placed into a psychological headlock and squeezed until the fight drains completely out of your body. It means that for the better part of an hour, Eala was standing on that court trying every adjustment in her tactical playbook, looking over at her coaching box for any answer or adjustment, and finding absolutely nothing that could slow down the American freight train on the other side of the net. Eala's maximum consecutive games won was 2. She managed to string together back-to-back holds of serve in the 5th and 6th games of the second set to make the score 4-2, and in that moment the entire stadium erupted. The fans sensed a shift. They poured every decibel of noise they had left into the air. You could feel the desperation and the hope colliding in real time. But here is what Coco Gauff did with that. She looked at those 2 consecutive games, absorbed whatever momentary emotion came with them, refocused in the space of roughly 4 minutes, and then closed the match out in straight, clinical fashion. 40-30 on the final game. Done. The fairy tale ended there on the Dubai clay under those stadium lights, and Coco Gauff walked to the net with the ice-cold composure of someone who had simply completed a scheduled workout rather than survived an elimination match. We cannot move forward without dissecting the single greatest moment of psychological theater this match produced. And it had nothing to do with a backhand winner or an ace or a drop shot. It happened in the post-match interview, and it is already being discussed in tennis circles as one of the more remarkable pieces of mental warfare we have ever seen a champion casually admit to on camera. Gauff was asked directly about the noise in the stadium, the overwhelming, thunderous pro-Eala crowd that could have rattled a less seasoned competitor right out of their game plan. And Coco Gauff, 21 years old, multiple Grand Slam champion, looked right at the interviewer with a slight smile and said, "Whenever you guys were cheering for Alex, I was pretending it was my name. I think it helped me a lot. If you can't beat them, you gotta join them. Stop everything." Read that back. She did not just block out the crowd noise. She did not just put on mental blinders and try to ignore 60 or 70% of that stadium rooting for her opponent. She rewired the experience entirely. She took hostile, opposing energy and, through sheer force of psychological creativity, converted it into personal fuel. That is not normal. That is not something coaches teach. That is a deeply instinctive mental gift that separates champions from everyone else. And then, showing the class and emotional intelligence that make her a genuine global sporting icon at an age when most people are still figuring out their college major, Gauff directly and warmly addressed the Filipino fans. She thanked Eala for bringing a whole new audience to the sport. She encouraged them to keep their passion, keep supporting their player, keep bringing that incredible energy to tennis courts around the world. It was gracious, it was mature, and it completely neutralized any lingering resentment in the building.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that some of you guys were cheering for me, so I appreciate it a lot. I'd like to thank Alex for bringing a new demographic to the sport. I really appreciate it. I think it's great. I know sometimes it's...
Now let us zoom out and look at what this performance means for the bigger picture, because the implications of what Coco Gauff just did in Dubai extend far beyond a single quarterfinal result. She just proved to every player on the WTA Tour that she does not need her A-game to dismantle a highly touted, nationally celebrated rising star. She can walk onto court with a serve that is actively fighting against her, hit 8 double faults across 14 games, and still deliver a performance so dominant that the match feels decided by the end of the third game of the first set. Think about how frightening that is for Elina Svitolina, the two-time Dubai champion who now has to prepare a semi-final game plan against this version of Coco Gauff. What exactly does that game plan look like? Because if you want to beat Coco when she is operating at this level, you cannot simply sit back and wait for her to gift you the match with mistakes. Mertens tried that and nearly succeeded, but that was a different Coco, a distracted, inconsistent, serve-tossing everywhere Coco. For the wider story of women's tennis in 2026, this match raises enormous questions about the pace of development at the very top of the game. We have spent the past several months building narratives around the incredible depth of emerging talent on the WTA Tour: Eala, Mira Andreeva, Klara Tauson, Olga Danilovic, and a dozen others who seem ready at any given moment to announce themselves as the next great champions of the sport. And those narratives are not wrong. The talent pipeline is genuinely extraordinary right now. But what Coco Gauff did today was draw a very clear, very specific line between rising talent and genuine elite dominance. Being able to beat players ranked outside the top 20 is a completely different skill set from being able to handle the physical, mental, and tactical demands of a player who can do what Gauff just did. The jump from promising to dominant is not incremental. It is not a gentle upward slope. It is a cliff face. And today, Alexandra Eala got to stand at the base of that cliff and look straight up at it. And the view from down there is simultaneously humbling and clarifying. Let us be absolutely clear about what Alexandra Eala needs to take from this experience, because the road forward is not hopeless. It is actually very clearly mapped out by the statistics of today's match. She is 20 years old. She just made the quarterfinals of a WTA 1000 event. She knocked out seeded players and showed the tactical intelligence that has been the foundation of her entire development pathway. None of that disappears because of a 67-minute loss to one of the greatest players of her generation. But the stat sheet does not lie, and the 32% first serve win rate is the single most urgent item on her improvement checklist. She needs a weapon. She needs a serve that can generate free points, that can back elite returners off the line, that can buy her time to settle into those long baseline exchanges she dominates. Because if she steps onto the court against another athlete of Gauff's caliber without that weapon, the blueprint is already written. Load up on the return. Take time away. Overwhelm from the baseline. Eala's tennis IQ is elite. Her movement and court sense are both genuinely special. But IQ and sense require time and space to operate. And against Coco Gauff, time and space are the two things you are never, ever going to get. Once she develops a serve that can earn her free points and respite under pressure, the entire rest of her game becomes exponentially more dangerous. That transformation is not just possible. Given her work ethic and the caliber of support around her, it feels inevitable. The question is how long it takes, and how many lessons like today's one will be required to accelerate the timeline. Meanwhile, on the other side of the net, this Coco Gauff performance sends a signal to the rest of the draw that has to be read very carefully. She is walking into the semifinals with genuine momentum, with her serve as a known and ongoing issue that she is managing rather than solving, and with a baseline game that right now is operating at a level that no one in this tournament has found an answer to. Every percentage point she improves on that first serve over the next 48 hours of practice represents a marginal gain that compounds exponentially into a player who becomes almost impossibly difficult to beat. The version of Coco Gauff who showed up today, the one who can go 10 games without dropping a single one while simultaneously hitting 8 double faults, is already dangerous enough to win this tournament. Fix the serve even partially, and we are talking about someone who could go on the kind of sustained run that reshapes the entire season narrative. The Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships have delivered remarkable storylines all week long, but nothing will be discussed, dissected, and debated quite as loudly and as passionately as this 67-minute earthquake of a quarterfinal. The Filipino fans did everything they could. They showed up. They made noise. They waved their flags. They believed. And Alexandra Eala showed up too. She just had the profound misfortune of showing up on the same afternoon that Coco Gauff decided to put on a masterclass of physical and psychological tennis that rendered tactics and preparation almost completely irrelevant. There are matches in tennis where both players fight hard and one wins. And then there are matches where one player simply operates at a frequency that the other cannot access, no matter how talented or prepared or determined they are. Today was the second kind, and witnessing it, even from the outside, even through a stat sheet and a television screen, is genuinely humbling. Here is where I am going to stop and put the question directly to you, because I genuinely need to know what is going through your heads right now. This is the kind of match that every tennis fan processes differently, and I want the full range of reactions in the comment section below. To the Coco Gauff fans, how validating is it to watch your players silence every single doubter with a 10-game winning streak against one of the most hyped young players in the sport? Do you believe this version of Gauff can ride this momentum all the way to the Dubai Trophy? Or are those 8 double faults still keeping you up at night as you think about the semi-final against Svitolina? To the Eala army, I want your honest, unfiltered reaction. Are you genuinely discouraged by this result? Or deep down, beyond the initial sting of the scoreline, do you view this as exactly the kind of painful, necessary growing pain that every future champion eventually has to absorb? What is the very first thing you want Eala to work on when she gets back to the practice court? Is it the serve, the physicality, the mental approach under pressure, or something else entirely? And to everyone watching this breakdown, is this the best Coco Gauff you have ever seen? Or do you think there is still another level she has not shown us yet? Drop your full, unfiltered thoughts in the comments right now. I read every single one of them, and the conversations that happen in this community are genuinely some of the most intelligent tennis analysis anywhere on the internet. If this breakdown gave you something to think about, if it made you see this match in a way you hadn't before, do me a favor and hit that like button. It takes 1 second, and it tells the algorithm that this kind of deep, detailed, passionate tennis content is exactly what people want to watch. And if you are not subscribed to Champions Tennisitics yet, I genuinely do not know what you are waiting for. We cover every major tournament with this level of detail, this level of passion, and this level of commitment to actually understanding what is happening on the court rather than just narrating the scoreboard. Click subscribe, turn on the notification bell, because the semifinal breakdown is coming, and I promise you, it is going to be every bit as dramatic and analytical and wildly entertaining as what you just watched. Champions Tennisitics, where every point matters, and every match tells a story worth breaking down. See you in the next one.